hey, I'm not sure what to do here. It's not aligning, okay? The math is not mathing for me. Something's amiss. And I think that it's you, job. I think that it's you, relationship. If you think that, then hi, welcome back. Hi. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ryder, and I just want to say first, thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed. Give yourself a pat on the back because that just means you are like motivated and determined to work on yourself. And I really don't think you'll come up short. Like, this is valuable information. Some things you can be like, oh, let me subscribe to this. Something, I don't know, and then be like, hey, I used to like that, but I don't really like it. I think if you subscribe to something that's going to improve your like peace and overall lifestyle, then I think like you're always going to win with that. So I just mean that to say, pat yourself on the back for like taking initiative to work on yourself and to grow. I think everyone around you benefits and you have a better life. Secondly, we're going to get into something that I think is like difficult for anyone to really decipher, really for anyone to decide. And so what I'll say, if it is pertaining to one of Maslow's basic hierarchies of needs, and in particular being like safety. As always, I'm not an expert. I'm just a person that has experience a lot more peace, a lot less frustration than I used to, and I'm just here to share information, perspective, and tips on like how to improve. So if it's something related to safety or just something along those lines, I think the information that I share still might be useful, but I wouldn't use it like as the total blueprint, just because there just might be some other things to consider for you. But anyways, if you're here, thank you so much and welcome. Let's get into today's video, where we're going to talk about what to do, when to know, like when is it time to end it, finish it. And really it can be pertaining to anything, a job, relationships, friends, families, anything like that. So I think this information is like relevant to lots of different things, and I think this method of going about it is going to be relevant to most of those areas. What I'll say is, and it's like it's going to be useful in all those areas. So what I'll say is, when it comes to knowing what to do, I think that's a big question that a lot of us have, because you really don't know. And I really think like maybe in some ways, but you still always, like, we always have to contemplate it. Like I said, whether it's a job or relationship. So I think the first place to start, honestly, to where you can have a clearer conscience about it and ruminate to get the lesson so that you're successful in your life. I think the first place to start, so that you have a healthy understanding, like I said, if those things of safety aren't an issue, because you have a little bit more time in that regard, I believe now, is to start with yourself. Maybe not what you were expecting, and we all think like, it's not me. It's not me. You do not understand. It's not me. But I think sometimes it's safe to give yourself some space. And yeah, like me, I know you've never had that one time or 10 times where you can think back to a time where, you know what, you were like, ooh, I was not right about that. Whether it be with your car, whether it be with the weather, trip, saving money, anything. Think to anything where you thought for sure you were right. I'm right. I'm right about it. I know it. And you were wrong. So if you have any of that knowledge in your head, then I say this to say, then there's a possibility that you don't know everything, okay? And there's still some things to learn. And I say that with grace and love and patience. And that's why I say, if safety is not an issue, then likely you have a little bit more time to like work this out and figure this out, right? And I want to say also to give yourself grace and space on your journey, because none of us are perfect, and we're all trying, I hope that we are all trying to move towards a better self. So when I say start with yourself, what I mean is, if you think that there's a possibility like, hey, I'm not sure what to do here, it's not aligning, okay? The math is not mathing for me. Something's amiss. And I think that it's you, job. I think that it's you, relationship. If you think that, then real quick, take a pause, take a beat, and then think about the time when maybe you were wrong. And I don't mean to say that you are still wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, think about a time when you weren't necessarily right, and let that be the first place you start when I say like be aware of yourself and start with yourself. So if you have that remembrance, then now you can give yourself a little space to be like, okay, you know what? There has been some times in the past where I've overreacted. I've not thought things all the way through, and I wasn't right, and someone else was, and I needed to do that, but I didn't, and I learned this way. So now you're a little bit more like receptive, I hope, to understand that maybe there's a little work to be done, and that's okay. And I don't think, like, don't take any pity on yourself. No, like, don't be like, man, what, me? No. It's all okay. It's okay. It's okay. Because I believe that like you are who you are based off of like where you were born, the things that you experienced, saw, witnessed, things around you, movies, music, people. Okay, so not that we're playing like the blame game. I am this way because of, no, it's just just a realization. You don't know what you don't know, and so don't beat yourself up. And no, we're just not gonna go there. So I'm just saying, take a deep breath. It's all right. I might have work to do. Okay, that's good. If you can acknowledge that, then you can improve, and then you can figure out what it is you want, what it is you're working towards. So starting with yourself, starting with ourselves before we look outside at the job, look outside at the relationship and say, you aren't doing this, that, and the third. Because that might be true, but it might not be true. So let's start with ourselves. And when I say start with ourselves, I mean, just a place of reference is, if you're going to take a self-assessment, which this is not something that's going to be overnight, get a journal. Okay, I always say journal. Get a journal. And then for the next, even if it's a week, it might be a month, it might be 6 months, just to gather enough data about yourself, because we kind of just live our lives and go and think things are happening around us and happening to us, and just not really taking that in and observing it like a scientist or something. But get a journal and then assess yourself. Assess, for instance, how many times you have to blow your horn in traffic. How many times are you blowing your top in your car, angry about traffic or about somebody cutting you off or something like that? If you're blowing your horn a lot, and I'm just going to say this, and I'm not passing judgment, I'm just giving an example. If you're blowing your horn a lot every day, all the time, then maybe you have a temper, and that's okay too. Awareness is the first step, but then maybe that's a place to start. Maybe the same way you blow your horn and the same way you're impatient in traffic is the same way that you show up at work, in your relationships. And so it makes it difficult for you to get what you want out of your relationships and out of your career, because maybe the way you're showing up. So I say that as just an example of a place to start and an example of a place to observe yourself. There's many other ways to observe yourself. If you're someone who you like wish that you were thinner, and not thin, like you have to compete and in some beauty magazines. No, just you look at yourself and you compare, which we all do. And they say that comparison is a thief of all joy. But at the same time, if you go on like a rabbit hole of comparison, then sure, maybe it's a thief of all joy. But sometimes competition is good. Sometimes comparison is good. It's good to see somebody in shape, and then turning your eyes into yourself and saying, oh, you know what, I could lose a little weight. Not so that I can be vain, because it is nice to have, a certain appearance wherever you are, but so that I can be healthy, so that I can be like vital and live my life and care for people and give and care for myself, So that's another assessment, and that's something that only you know. But if weight is not something that triggers you when you go out and you wish you could wear this size pants or, do this type of physical activity, if that never occurs to you, or if it doesn't bother you, if it never occurs, then maybe think about it and think, maybe bring a little awareness to it. And once you're aware of it, if it's something that doesn't bother you, then it just doesn't bother you. And that's fine. We all have our own things. But if it's something, and I'm just giving like a little compass, maybe just ways to take an assessment on yourself to see if there's areas that you could improve or change to help your outcomes. So your like attitude, your understanding level, how you look and appear and show up in the world, that might have how you look and show up in the world, it might have an effect on the world you live in. And I mean like the people around you and, all that comes with. So those just like a few things. But most importantly, take assessment of yourself first. Start there. When you want to figure out, when is this over? When do I need to leave this job? I'm not getting what I want. Look, are you on time to work? Are you on time? No judgments. I think we might have all been late a time or two, okay? It's becoming aware that it's the most important. But your job's not doing this and they doing that, this, that, and the third. Are you on time into work and returning from your lunch break? Are you doing what you need to do? And then when you are doing what you need to do, then that's chapter 2, okay? That's chapter 2. That's the next thing. That's the next assessment. But first, like I said, if safety's not an issue, and I say that because I think that there just might be a little, like a different route to take there. But if you have the time to assess and you can still go to sleep at night and you can still eat and those things, but certain things are irking you until you feel like, right? If you're in that, just assess yourself. Like, take the focus off of everyone else and what everyone else is doing and just look at you. How am I showing up? Am I showing up like the person that I would want to be working beside? Am I showing up on time, helping? And then if not, that's all right. Maybe you didn't know. Maybe you didn't care. I don't know. Maybe now you do care though. So just take an assessment of yourself first. Take that self-assessment journal. And you can buy a journal or you can put it in your notes section of your phone and just type journal entry and just put the dates. And just at first type in maybe different responses that you give or different interactions that you have. If they're stressful when you're going through a drive-through and you're like, why did this person say this or that? Or like, oh my God, da, 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 da. Just look at like, how are you showing up in like your everyday interactions? If there's some tension there, and maybe they really shouldn't be there because it's like you're in a car, maybe you shouldn't be blowing your horn unless it's like an emergency, a threat to your life. Or something. And if you are, then you can assess that and maybe you can find that as a place to change. And I say that with love. As always, grace, respect, and peace and mercy. I'm just providing this information as always from a place of like more peace. And I'm not saying every day is like peaceful and rosy, but they are a lot better than those unnecessary stressful days. So before you look at like, why did this person turn in here like this? Honk. Okay. It's not always about why that person did this. Why are you reacting that way, ma'am or sir? So start with yourself. I think that's a safe place to start. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful, added value, and then just gave you some reference. Thank you so much for being here. Be very proud of yourself for starting on this journey. And evolving, wanting to do a self-diagnostic to improve. When you improve, everything around you improves. So this is a great place to be. Take a deep breath, and there will be setbacks, and there will be things that you don't understand just yet, and that's okay. But as long as you are aware, as you are journaling, as you are paying attention, you can improve those things day by day. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful. I really do, because I really think that it was very valuable and like an honest, perspective. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. Y'all have a great one. Bye.